The MBRP 3-inch Installer Series Catback exhaust is available for any 07 to 13 5.3 Silverado owner who's looking to pick up a budget-friendly single side exit exhaust that offers a louder, more aggressive sound without going overboard. The Installer is one of the more affordable of the 3 different series of catbacks from MBRP, all of which differ based on materials. This option is made of aluminized steel and the kit runs at just around $450. The installation for something like this is pretty simple, although it may require you to cut one of the extension pipes in the kit depending on your cab size and bed length, which I'll talk more about later on. With that said, I'm giving this 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. The first thing I want to tackle here with the Installer option is obviously going to be the sound. As you just heard from our sound clips, this single side exit catback is going to upgrade your L83 motor's tone to sound deeper, throatier, and louder than stock. Even though it sounds more aggressive with a louder tone, it's definitely not too overbearing, so don't worry about not hearing the music or your buddy in the passenger seat if you're having a conversation. Now, outside the truck at idle, it sounds pretty quiet, I'm not gonna lie, but once you start getting on it and start opening up that throttle, it sounds like it picks up and it's very noticeable. Inside the truck, the sound stays pretty low. On the highway, you might start to hear just a little bit of drone, but in my opinion, it's really not gonna be a make it or break it. Overall, it gets 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter, and in my personal opinion, this is one of the better sounding options, along with something like Cook's that really gives the 5.3 the muscular sound it deserves. Obviously, sound is directly attributed to the materials and construction of the system. Now, this one is manufactured out of a 3-inch heavy-duty aluminized steel tubing with a 16-gauge tubing wall, all with a natural finish. It's got a bullet-style muffler, which gives us a louder, more aggressive tone. With everything done inside of this thing, the technology gives us that sound that we have. All of that will connect to a 3.5-inch polished T304 stainless steel tip at the rear end with the single side exit. MBRP lets us know that this system, with its less restrictive airflow, will increase horsepower and torque ratings by 5 to 10%, and it'll cool your exhaust gases by 200 degrees. So there are definitely some more functional benefits, not just the sound. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, the only thing that makes this one different from the other 3 options MBRP offers is the materials. Now, this one's the aluminized steel, which is the most budget-friendly exhaust material available, coming in just around the $450 mark. Now, if you're located in wintry weather areas seeing a lot of road salt, I'd probably recommend going with the next step option up, which is going to be holding up a little bit better in the long run against corrosion. Those would be the XP series with 409 stainless steel materials at about $550, or the Pro series 304 stainless, the highest quality, at about $700. This one here, however, is great for guys looking to stay on a tighter budget but still want that same exact sound the others offer. Single side exits, lucky for you, are one of the simpler ones to install since there isn't as much to work with as others. This kit even includes the extension pipe for those with extended cabs or beds who need a bit more tubing to make it out the back. If you do need to do it, then you might want to have a single cut in that extension pipe, and MBRP lays out exactly how to measure that out and make the cut with their instruction manual provided for you in the kit. Remember to measure twice and cut once. You'll need a ratchet and socket set in addition to the cutting tool to get the old Catback off and the new Installer series up under the truck. Overall, it shouldn't take longer than 2 hours from start to finish, even with the single cut that you'll need to be doing if you have the longer bed. I'm giving this 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Now, we brought our own truck into the shop to install this, so let's head over to the shop to see how it's done. Now, before we can get to install our MBRP system, we're gonna have to uninstall the stock Catback. Now, to do so, we're gonna need a ratchet, simple socket set, maybe a few extensions depending on where your bolt heads are. I'm using a 1/2-inch drive with a 13mm socket to start off on the band clamp right behind our catalytic converter. Now, as you can see, our truck has seen a few things. It's a bit rusty under here on the frame. It's been off-roading with us. We live on the East Coast as well. We see a lot of road salt, so this is to be expected, so don't be alarmed there. But we did hit all of our bolts with WD-40 already, which is something I would recommend just to help loosen them up a bit to avoid a little bit of trouble. So first thing we're gonna do is use our 13mm socket and ratchet to remove the band clamp here right next to our catalytic converter. So it was kind of expected. We have a really rusty bolt on our hands with the band clamp by the catalytic converter. The bolt head spun right off, so we did break a bolt here. We're gonna have to do a little damage control, so we're gonna do what we have to do to get this band clamp off. We'll replace the bolt when we're done, and we'll keep it moving. Yeah, rotate. There we go. That's it.
There it is.
We're gonna take our extension pipe here and feed it right over the frame. And on the other end, I'm gonna use a pole jack to hold up from one side so that I don't have to use both hands to hold all of this up. So with that lined up to where we want it on our band clamp, we broke the bolt here so there's nothing in it. So we're just gonna use both of our hands to separate that and get it where we want to. Now with the new bolt in place that we're using, I'm gonna put the bolt head on the bottom so it's a little easier to access. Tighten it down by hand as much as you can, just getting it nice and tight into place there. Grab your socket and tighten things up. Now you don't want to torque down this bolt just yet because you want to have room to play, a little bit of room for adjustment once you have the other pieces in place. So we're going to grab our socket and just tighten it just enough to be snug, and then we'll move on from there. Once the extension pipe is in place here next to the catalytic converter, we're going to use our U-bolt clamps and provide it in the kit to slide it right over the extension pipe and clamp it down to our bullet style muffler. Now these clamps are a little bit different than the ones you're probably used to on your factory trucks. It's got the same idea. You're going to put it right over the extension pipe and it's going to clamp down, tightening them together. So we're going to feed that over the extension pipe first. Pick up our bullet style muffler, set it in place, feed it over our outlet and tighten them down. Next up, we're gonna take our 15mm socket and our ratchet. In this case, I'm using an electric ratchet. And we're gonna tighten up these 15mm bolts on that U-bolt clamp, holding on our muffler. All right, when you're getting these on, the U-bolt clamps are a little bit harder to make sure that there's a really, really tight seal. You wanna make sure you're getting as tight a seal as possible in the inlet and outlet for the muffler and extension pipe, and along with all of the other U-bolt clamps that you're using in the kit, all of which are provided by MBRP. So once you have that there, you want to make sure they're tight as possible before you move on. So once your muffler's on, you want to take another U-bolt clamp, feed it over the outlet side of your muffler, and then take your next bit of pipe here, and it's going to be the V-shaped thing with two hangers coming off of each side. So what you're going to do is make sure the hangers are closest to the back side of the truck toward the tailgate. You're going to feed this over top here, feed it into the outlet on the muffler, and work these two hangers into the isolators on each side. Sometimes you might need to use a little WD-40 on the hanger isolator. Since they are pretty dried up rubber, the WD will help lube things up to get the hangers and the isolators kind of working together a little bit easier. So we hit that with some WD, hanger slid on there a little bit easier, just to help us feed on that other end. There we go. There we can meet up the muffler and our new pipe. Meet those up together. Perfect. Slide our U-bolt clamp into place. We're gonna grab our 15mm socket, tighten these down. Next up, our over axle pipe is gonna connect to that pipe we just installed there, and a U-bolt clamp is gonna go over the flanged end or the flared end of this over axle pipe. So we're gonna feed that over that axle, connect it onto our tubing, tighten that clamp down by hand. Just a little bit just to get it nice and snug. Next up, we can connect our hanger to our isolator. With our hanger into our isolator, our other U-bolt clamp tightened down by hand. The last piece of the puzzle is going to be our MBRP tip. Now, those already have a built-in clamp on the end of it, so we won't have to worry about that. We'll just slide this over the end of the tailpipe. Pull it out just a little bit, since this is going to be right at the end of our bumper here. Pull it out just enough. Once we tighten that bolt up top, that'll clamp itself down. And then we're going to tighten down our final clamp in the back here, and we'll be good to go. With the tip in place, before you tighten down the clamp toward the back of the tailpipe, you can readjust where this pipe falls depending on where your tip lands coming out of your side exit. So ours looks pretty good, but if you did have to adjust, you could just rotate and twist this to align where you want that tip to fall. Now ours is pretty good, so I'm going to take my 15mm socket and tighten down this clamp. The last piece of the puzzle, we're going to install the tip here, tighten that down with a 5/16 hex driver socket. I'm going to tighten it down by hand just to make sure that stays in place where we want it to, just as far as that goes. All right, throw it on my ratchet. So once you've made sure all those bolts are torqued down as tight as possible, making sure that there are no exhaust leaks, last step in the process is take a microfiber cloth and wipe down your exhaust tip, just because it is stainless steel, it is polished. You just want it to look good, just because work with some greasy hands and you can get kind of ugly toward the end of it. So polish that off so it looks nice and neat, and you're good to go. So if you like the MBRP Installer Series, you can get it for your own Silverado right here at AmericanTrucks.com.